two 4K discs of the same movie, but which one is better? Let's talk about that. What is going on, everybody? Tom Chattelbash here, and if you love 4K movies and physical media like I do, then rest assured you are in the right place. And today we're going to talk about something interesting. We're going to be talking about American Pie on 4K. But not just that, we're going to be talking about the two different versions of this movie that have come out. Now, what I mean by that is that a little while back, we got a 4K release of American Pie from 88 Films. They actually did the first two films in 4K. And then recently, we got a Universal release of American Pie in 4K, which I thought was essentially just going to be the same transfer, just, distributed through them in the States. However, after watching both of these versions, I can tell you 100% that there is one that is far superior. Now, when 88 Films came out with their release of the first two American Pies in 4K, they were met with rave reviews. Everyone was saying how, amazing they looked, how the uptick in clarity and detail was incredible, that the colors looked great. It was just a fantastic looking transfer, better than it had any right to be. So naturally, I was really excited when Universal announced that they were going to be putting out the movie in 4K and giving us, a North American release. So I was excited for that because I figured, like most of these cases where, it starts off as an international release and then kind of heads to the States, that most of the time it's essentially the same transfer, just, with different distribution. Well, let me tell you, folks, there is one version of this movie you should buy, and it is not the Universal release. Now, when I first watched the Universal release, I wasn't really all that unhappy with it. I thought it looked terrific in terms of sharpness and clarity and detail. I mean, the movie looked better than it ever has. I was stunned how sharp this 4K looked. However, I did have a major issue with it, and I was curious to see if this other version had this same issue with it, and it was that this movie looked so dark in 4K. Essentially, it looks like someone turned off all the studio lights and then just started filming because you can barely see what's going on in this movie, especially early on in the film, say at Stifler's house party, where it's really hard to tell what is going on because of how dim it looks. And this is a pervasive problem on the entire disc, where the image just looks so dull and lifeless. It looks sharp and it definitely has a lot more depth to it, but it just looks so dull and lifeless and devoid of color almost, where I was thinking to myself, this can't be how this movie should look. This can't be how the cinematography looked back in the day. I know American Pie was never the most stunning looking comedy, but I know it definitely looked brighter than this. So then I decided to do some research where I looked into reviews of both the Universal release and the 88 Films release. And one of the main sites that I go to, Blu-ray.com, which I think is a very dependable site for 4K reviews and Blu-ray reviews, especially if I'm on the fence about picking one up. And I saw that there was a drastic difference between the review of the 88 Films release and the Universal release, where the 88 Films release got a really good rating and had almost flawless remarks about, the picture quality and the audio quality. And then on the Universal release, it seems like there were a lot of issues with the video quality, where it definitely pointed out how dark it was, which is the problem that I was having. So I was a little bit confused and frankly a little bit frustrated. So I did what any 4K collector would normally do, right? I decided just to double dip. Because this version is the version you should be getting of the movie if you want to pick up American Pie on 4K. And let me tell you why. Not only is the 88 Films release of this film so much brighter, I mean, I went back and forth between the two versions of the movie, and it's almost literally a night and day difference because of how much brighter the 88 Films release looks. And not only is this release so much brighter, but it's so much more lively and full of color and vibrant, how this movie should look. I mean, going from the Universal release to the 88 Films release, my eyes had to physically adjust because of how much brighter and more vibrant this release was. And that should not be the case. I'm not really sure what happened here, if Universal just decided to kind of throw away 88 Films color grading and their encoding and decided to just kind of do their own grading and their own encoding and what's going on there, because there's huge differences between the two discs. I mean, on the Universal release, it definitely seems like it might look a little bit sharper to the untrained eye, but you're losing so much vibrancy and color and brightness that it's not really worth it. Not to mention that I feel like the Universal release looks more digital than the 88 Films release, which I feel like maintains a lot more of the filmic quality of American Pie, which gives it a more authentic feel in my mind, while still giving you the clarity and detail you want. I did A/B testing with, various scenes on both of these discs to see the differences, and the 88 Films release just pulled ahead every single time, brightness, vibrancy, even clarity sometimes. It just felt like it just looked so much better and more three-dimensional. It's jarring how different these releases are, and frankly, it's frustrating because I feel like there are going to be so many collectors out there who pick up the Universal release and are either satisfied or really upset with this release, not knowing that there's a far better version of this movie out there that they can pick up. Now, I haven't checked out American Pie 2 in 4K from 88 Films, but I'm sure it looks just as good, and from what I read, it does. But I'm really pissed that I had to buy two versions of this movie in order to figure out that there's one that's way better, and that's not how it should be. I'm pretty upset with Universal here. I'm not sure what went on behind the scenes, but I also did read that 88 Films had a really hard time bringing the first two into 4K, which is why I don't think they even did the rest of the American Pie films in 4K, because the first two were such a difficult process to undergo, and it sucks because I would have loved to have seen what they did with, like, say, American Wedding and American Reunion. But look, people, I'm just here to tell you, if you like American Pie, if you love the movie like I do not pick up this version, because it is not the version you should get. Pick up the 88 Films version. It's not expensive. Pick it up. It's way better, and you will thank yourself later, and you won't have to double dip like I did. So learn from my mistake. Pick up that release. Audio-wise, they both sound basically the same. It's really the video where there's a huge difference. So this isn't necessarily a 4K review. This is more of a 4K comparison and more of an informative video to let you know that if you love this movie, pick up the right version. So that's my take on this whole little controversy. It's strange that I don't see any other, 4K reviewers out there talking about this, doing comparisons between the two, since there's such a huge difference. But I figured if no one else is talking about it, I want to talk about it. But let me know in the comments if you've picked up either of these discs or both of these discs, and let me know if you've seen the same differences that I have, or if you're on the fence about picking this one up. Which one do you feel more inclined to buy now? Let me know down below. And before I forget, if I don't get to see you before the end of the year, I just want to say a huge thank you for helping me reach 400 subscribers in the span of, 2-3 months. Kind of nuts how this channel has really gained some serious traction. Just thank you for supporting the channel, watching the videos. It's been really amazing to see how this community has welcomed me into this space. I'm usually just the guy who talks to one or two friends about 4K movies, and I figured, let's see if there's a community out there of people who are like-minded, who enjoy physical media in 4K like I do, and clearly you're out there. So just thank you for supporting. So many more reviews coming to you in the new year, but thank you for subscribing, for supporting. It means a whole lot. And until next time, everybody, I'm Tom Chattelbash, YouTube's most reliable movie critic.